Hello, I'm Marksman, or I guess Iconoclast Mark now. But I just wanted to make a video because I've been playing this damn space game way too much. And believe me when I say I have never really been like a space game guy. I've always loved space, like don't get me wrong, like I love quasars and black holes and dark matter and all that cool stuff, different planets and solar systems and all that stuff. It's super cool to me. But like I just have never hit a niche where I was like, oh man, I'm super stoked for this space game. I've never been like, I want to play a space game even. Like, I think the biggest one was probably like No Man's Sky, but that game never got me on the hype train. I actually was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way they can, land all their promises. And, for the most part, I was right. I guess for the better part of multiple years, I was right. But that's okay. I think I've always been skeptical of just all, massive scope games. And space might just be the biggest scope that you can have for a game. So I've always been cautious, let's just say. Then one day, and I swear to God, I have basically heard nothing about Star Citizen up until this point. But one day, my friend was like, hey, does anyone want to try out this like free weekend on this game that I've been like hyped for? And I'm like, I guess. I think it took me like past the free weekend to actually, get the gall to even try it. But then I did, and I was absolutely taken aback. Honestly, how did no one ever tell me that like this experience, while yes, you have to wade through a lot of bugs to get into it, it's just like one of the most interesting and like deep experiences I've ever had in like gaming itself. It's insane. Like it's like what Prey did for people when they were like, whoa dude, immersive sims exist, but like, in the modern era. Now I'm sure like at least 1% of people heard me say the name Star Citizen and were like, oh shit, and just like immediately clicked off the video. And you know what, you're kind of like valid. It evokes high price tags, $48,000 for a ship? What? No way. In a massive Kickstarter campaign, I think like the largest one in history or something. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't know anything about this game prior to like a month ago. I was actually shocked that like 4 years ago, some people were talking about it in like the Discord that I'm a part of. And I was like, dude, I don't remember that at all. And I was never following development. I never cared about what they were doing. I was just like, oh yeah, that's a space game. Cool, whatever. Like, I'm glad it's there for some people. But I think like now that I'm kind of in the ecosystem, like I'm reading dev posts, I'm reading blog posts, I'm like looking up stuff about ships. I'm like watching like morphologists and Ferrister videos on different like reviews for ships. Like now that I'm in it, I'm like, I kind of get it. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $48,000. Don't get me wrong. If you have that and you are going to buy a ship with it, instead you should send it to me so I can buy a house. But other than that, like, I kind of like get it. Like, you're funding basically like a dream game. Like, it might not be my dream game because I never thought of this game, but like it is probably many people's like dream game. It's kind of incredible in a way. And look, I get it, like, charging people exorbitant amounts of money is silly, but also like, they can do like whatever they want with their money, but also don't do that. Look, I've been saying all this, and all of this has been lampshading. I know I'm a master at this, but all of this has been my way of saying that I am enamored with this game. Like, the kinds of things that you can do, even though they're like, some of them are mundane, it's just so cool. Like you can have a giant ship and be flying at like 1200 meters per second and be walking around in that ship. You could be stacking boxes, hauling cargo. You could be playing with your friends. You could be emoting, shooting each other. You can be doing all kinds of stuff. And okay, first of all, okay, I'm a little biased. I do love any game where you can move around on a vehicle. If you can move around on a vehicle, I'm like way more interested in your game. But Star Citizen takes that to like a degree that I did not even think was possible. And yes, it's glitchy. Yes, sometimes you might die or your ship might randomly explode. But the crazy thing is that it's like worth it. Like, it's so much fun to stack boxes in the reclaimer. It's so much fun to empty out your friend's vulture, EVA into like a spirit, and then like load up all the boxes. It's so much fun to do a bounty, kill them, be like, oh dude, they have cargo, and then like go in, like grab their drugs, and then like go sell them and like evade the cops because they can, you know, scan you. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's just so interesting that everything is so physical, and it's getting better. I know it's like copium, but it is like getting better. And in just the last like 6 months, they like added physicalized cargo and all that. Like, some of the coolest parts of what I find interesting about the gameplay loop of Star Citizen has not been there for very long. And that's really encouraging to me. And look, 50-50, it's like you're gonna die, or it's a trash fire, or it's going to be like one of the coolest, like an absolute gem of gaming. And honestly, it constantly makes you go like, I wonder if I can do that. And most of the time, as long as the servers don't break, you kind of can. And that's so impressive. When this game has worked, it has been consistently one of the greatest gameplay experiences I've ever had, especially with friends. Like, I guess I need to say, like, if you're playing solo, this is a very much like a vibe game. And I am more than happy to play this game solo every now and again, but friends make this game, like, it takes this game to a different level of fun. Like, it opens up more interactions, more experiences, and everything. There's no other co-op game like it, I would say. All that being said, I have missed like the last 10 years of CIG's shenanigans, and apparently there have been a lot of shenaniganeries going around. But coming to this game now is like, it is like discovering an entire like solar system's worth of interesting and unique stuff. It's crazy. It's insane. The lighting, the atmosphere, the lore, the designs, the companies, the ships, the planets, the shops, the music, the transit system, the lighting, everything, the weather effects, the stations, the vibes, just, it's insane. Like, just the fact that like the ships from one company are like so different from another, and they share similar design languages, they share similar like architectural like theming, and they have like different internals that have different like ways of even interacting with like doors, and how like they handle airlocks, how they handle like a cargo bay, how you can access their like ship components. Like, everything is thought out to a degree that I hadn't even considered. And not just that, like the dynamic music when you land on a planet, the different like shops that are existent throughout the world. Like, I mean, just Grimhex in general is just such a cool design. Or even Orison, like both of those places are like, they spurn the imagination, man. They're insane. Like, and that's the thing, is like, there's so much that's good about this game, and it's so frustratingly close to being truly astounding. And just to temper it a tiny bit, because I know I've been gushing a lot, like, obviously there are some ships that still exist in the game that are like very out of date and are kind of buggy or broken, but like the ones that are new are like they raise the bar on everything. It's so like impressive what they're able to do with their ships. Obviously, like, even the old ones have cool and unique designs, and yeah, sure, like, their components are a little out of date, but like, they've still done some amazing things, and that definitely, it deserves a little bit of praise. Obviously, like, when you clip out of a bathroom in like the Aegis Vanguard or whatever, it's probably like not good, and they should definitely fix that, but they have a lot of ships that they have to fix still. So it's also worth noting that this video will be out of date, and probably maybe even easily within a year. And that's a great thing, because the features that they'll add and the polish that this game receives will potentially make it something that is worth most people's time. I mean, I have a pretty high tolerance for bugs. I tend to play a lot of different games. I have like 1,000+ games on Steam, and I've played my fair share of early access, extremely broken, extremely buggy titles. But this game, there's a lot more potential than your average indie game. And since the game's progress has already been steady, it's also been very sweeping. Like, just since March, they added physicalized cargo, a ton of new missions, 13 new ships and variants with some extremely detailed interiors, ship trespassing, the ability to salvage and the entire salvaging gameplay loop, vehicle tractor beams, the ability to attach and detach components from ships with your personal tractor beams, entire new areas like stations, points of interest on planets, and visual updates to places like Lorville, as well as the persistent entity streaming that they already have on the replication layer in the playable test area, or universe thing, whatever it's called. That and the hopefully not too far off promise of server meshing that could hopefully improve the game's overall performance and the server FPS by a substantial amount if it's implemented correctly. It promises to potentially be one of the most impressive, not only like gameplay wise, but technologically. Like, the idea of server meshing is like kind of mind-blowing. Like, I'm surprised that no one's like attempted it, perhaps because it's a difficult thing to do, but man, I really hope they nail it, because that, I think, is the biggest thing for me to recommend this game to other people. Is if you're waiting, if you look up Star Citizen server meshing on Google right now, if this is a year from this video's release and you're like, whoa, why did this video that no one's watched end up in my recommended? Look that up, and if it did, put in my referral code and then go play this game right now. It's worth your time if they add server meshing. The replication layer is pretty cool. It's decently cool. It will help. And with how many 30Ks I've been getting lately, which is where the server crashes, it is definitely necessary. But server meshing to me is like, that's where this game goes from something special to something groundbreaking. And to bring it back, yes, you do see articles about some truly eye-watering prices, and yes, it is definitely crazy. But at the same time, I can understand why someone would want to fund a game like this. Like, the promise of Star Citizen is something that truly bears beholding, because there's just nothing else like it, and nobody has even come remotely close. This game is something special, and it has the promise to go so much farther that it ignites the imagination. I guess we'll put it that way. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you did. And if you did, use my referral code on Star Citizen. I don't really care. Actually, you can also just use someone else's. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.